Hello, this is Sabyasachi. I am welcoming you all to today's lecture on supervised learning. Today, we are going to explore about the supervised learning, one of the most important types of machine learning. So, let me first give you the brief about the image you are seeing on your screen. This image actually gives us the clear breakdown about the three main types of machine learning. The number one is supervised learning, which is called as task driven, where the goal is to predict the next value based on the label data. Number two is the unsupervised learning, which is also the data driven, where the model identifies the pattern and the clusters without labeled example, which actually present in the supervised learning. Number three is the reinforcement learning from the mistakes, where an agent actually interacts with an environment, gets the reward or penalties based on the action. So today our focus will be on supervised learning. So let's dive in. Let me first give you the brief about the supervised learning. Actually, supervised learning is like learning from a teacher. Imagine you are a child learning to recognize some fruits. So the teacher shows you an apple and says, "Hey, this is an apple." Then he or she shows you a banana and say, "Hey, this is a banana." After seeing many examples, you can start recognizing apples and bananas on your own. And this is exactly how supervised learning works. The model is trained on the label data, which means each example has an input and has an correct output, which we are calling as label. Okay, so supervised learning is a type of machine learning where a model learns from the label data to make predictions on new and unseen data. So here's a question arises that how does the supervised learning work, right? So broadly, there are two main steps actually. One is the training phase, one is the testing phase. First is the training phase. The model is given a data set with some inputs and output pairs, and simply it learns from the input output pairs about the relationship. And then the testing phase comes, that the model now is been tested with some new and unseen data to check how well it has learned, and if it performs well, it can be used for real world predictions. There are some few examples of supervised learning I'm giving to you. Imagine we want to teach a model to recognize cats and dogs. So the step number one will be collect the images of cats from the internet and label them as cat, right? The step number two will be collect the images of dogs from the internet and label them as dog. The step number three will be the model learns feature like shape, size, the ears, fur, etc. to differentiate them. And number four step is when given a new image, the model predicts that if it is a cat or it is a dog. There are various types of supervised learning are there. So supervised learning is also divided into two main types. What are those? Number one is classification or prediction categories. So the first is let me give you the brief example about the classification, which I'm mentioning, that the model first predicts the discrete categories. The big example of this is the email spam detection, which is spam or not. And another example is identifying the handwritten digits between 0 and 9. Number two is the regression, predicting the numerical values. the model predicts the continuous numerical values. An example of this is the predicting the house prices based on the size and the location, etc. And number 2 is, predicting the temperature based on the past weather data. The common algorithm in supervised learning, there are many algorithms are very popular, like linear regression used for the, predicting some continuous values like, the house prices. Number 2 is, logistic regression used for classification problem, like as I mentioned, the spam detection, right? Number 3 is decision trees, which is used for both the classification and the regression. What are the advantages of this supervised learning? It is highly accurate when you are training your model properly, and this is useful in real world applications like healthcare, finance, and Tesla also using this supervised learning models very frequently. And this is easy to understand and implement compared to the other learning models. And obviously there are lots of challenges and limitations in this model. Requires the first, the drawback of this supervised learning is it requires a lot of level data, and which can be expensive to collect, because you have to collect from the different sources of internet, and you have to level them, you have to pre-process the data in various types, as per your structure, as per your thinking process. And there are lots of struggles with complex and unseen data, which required as I mentioned, the retraining or pre-training or advanced techniques. And the computational complexity also very expensive, and especially for some deep learning models. So thank you so much.